65 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. My name is Tamara Hunter, and today we have a new service hero. I'm so excited to be sharing her story and what it is that she's doing to serve others and make a difference. She was actually nominated by Andrea Adams Miller, and I am thrilled to be introducing you all today to Raushawna Price. She's actually out there making a difference. And I know I say out there, we can say that figuratively right now. However, in the past, and again, soon to be in the future, she's been out there with some of the major corporations, major groups. She's seriously involved with making a difference in an area we need her. So thank you for being here today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am excited too. So let's chat a bit. Okay. Whenever Andrea nominates someone, I always know it's going to be someone of substance. It's going to be someone that I'm going to be really excited to meet, and I have to say this is the case here today. And as people jump on, I want to recognize them also. Okay. And just to let you know, I don't know if you know, Raushawna, but I have a nonprofit that I am the president and co-founder of, and so a lot of who show up, and the reason I created this show actually is because I support my community, those people that have been affected by cancer and that are feeling isolated and alone. And right now, that actually we've opened our doors to everybody because there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people
that way, and we're going to talk about that today. So I recognize them as they chat, come and chat. So great to see you, one of our buddies, Rachel, Ariel. Great to see you today. Glad you're here. And if you guys want to also act as ambassadors, as Helene does, welcome everybody as they're coming in. That would be awesome. I would love it. All right. Now, Raushawna, am I saying your name correctly? I want to make sure.
Yes, Raushawna, you are.
Raushawna is beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Sherry, great to see you today. So happy you're with us. You are incredible. Here you have gone to school. You have not only your master's in one area, you chose to do it in two areas. Anytime anybody does that, I always, the recruiter in me immediately points that out. And if you don't mind, I really kind of want to start there because I have a feeling that's going to lead us to our story. So what is it? Why is it that you decided to get your bachelor's and master's? Let's see. It is in some kind of engineering, right? And then you go back again. So let's hear what that's all about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I studied industrial and systems engineering really because my father, when I was about 10 or 12, said, you don't want to be a teacher, because he was a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher. And he was like, you don't want to be a teacher. You want to be an engineer. And I didn't know what an engineer was, and he really didn't either. He just said they make more money than teachers. So I spent a few years, I'm from upstate New York, and so Kodak, old school Kodak, was right there. And I had a mentor who was an operations manager over the single-use cameras, the old school camera that you would put in, and then it would go away after a time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that was my introduction to industrial engineering. And that's why I decided to go to school and study industrial engineering. And then fast forward 12 years or so. And then after that, I ended up going into education and getting a master's in educational leadership.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So in other words, Dad was like, okay, we always think about lead by example. He must have been leading by example. However, it's interesting when the words say one thing, but then the body and the soul, leads us in another area. So he's leading by example. You're seeing this whole thing. You're like, I want some of that, but he's saying, you really don't. Let me tell you why, right?
Let me tell you why. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm fascinated by the whole Kodak thing because, I remember those single-use things. In fact, that was always one of the great Christmas presents. I had a ton of kids at one time, little ones at one time, now they're big. But, and so they would each get one of those, right, for Christmas every year. And it was always so interesting to see how they saw their life, what they chose. And you could tell the 5-year-old from the 12-year-old, oh,
Right.
okay, a whole different thing going on there. Wink, wink, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, but behind the scenes, that must have been fun.
It was awesome because it was my first real encounter to see what happens in a facility where you have people that are doing different jobs in a sequence. So I remember it's so vivid walking in, and there were all these stations, and some people were taking apart the back end. They were taking out the film after it because it had already been developed. So then they would put new film in, and it was really a pass along of the camera to get it ready again for it to go back out. Yeah.
I want to give a shout out because, one of the reasons right now I'm doing the shows with a date. Anybody that's been following this show for the last couple of years knows that I used to give them numbers, and I'm giving them dates now because I want people to someday, in decades in the future, when they stumble upon this show, I want them to say, wow, what was happening on April the 21st in the year 2020?
Right.
And we're in a whole different dynamic that yet is slightly different, presentation. Yet if you start picking it apart, that there's different pieces that we played this story before. We've had this film before in, if you will, part of it from the pandemic before, or part of it from before in the wartime and everything like this. And I'm thinking all of it comes together right now. And it really leads to what your training there is, and that we let a lot of our manufacturing go away, and we had let that happen before. And the reason I bring this up, it might sound funny, but it's a full circle, guys. Trust me on this one. You're going to laugh. Yeah. My grandmother was one of those, you see that image of the, woman with the, World War II, and, goes to, my job and my duty. And she went and, and she ended up going into manufacturing because they brought manufacturing back, and they brought the women in to help. And, and she's like, afterwards, it was like, I'm making my own money now. I'm not going back. I'm staying, right? She ended up working at a company that did doorknobs on the assembly line. Yep. And she loved it. She loved it. She felt like she was participating and she was contributing. And there was that whole mindset that that generation ended up taking on, and then, really creating this boom, right? And then there were some of the companies that ended up staying here, and some of them, decided to go into different pastures, and now some of them are coming back, and we've been reworking our manufacturing. And I really want to emphasize this for anybody watching this right now, because I saw your face light up. I saw your face light up, and I remember my grandmother's face lighting up. And right now we are in a shift again, and we're bringing back some manufacturing, and there's going to be those manufacturing jobs, and there's going to be that need for people to jump into that world. And service heroes are leaders, that's what they are. And even though you shifted out, we're going to talk about that, but the fact that we're here right now, I want people to say, wow, look at that smile. There's something there.
Yeah, I loved working in manufacturing. I worked in food manufacturing for 8 years with General Mills. I did internships with Ford Motor Company. I have worked in a plant that cast engine blocks for the F-150. I mean, dirty jobs, but great jobs, good work, hardworking people. And you get to see your products. Like when I go to the grocery store, I'm one of those people that's like looking to see what the new product is. And then I have friends that have made really cool products, like in Lucky Charms, when the balloon came out, they did like a hot air balloon. I know the person that created that and tested it. And that's what it means to be in community. That's what I think. And that's community.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for going here with me because I'm thinking the same thing because okay, guys, we're gonna go on, but I will say
Yeah.
this because it was Kwikset was the company that my grandmother worked
Yeah.
for, right?
Yeah.
And I remember things like every Christmas, they would have these really cool doorknobby kind of unique items that that the employees could get, and then she always ended up giving them out to us, and we had one that our pin went in, and where the key thing is, and it always stayed by the phone back in the day, because
Okay.
it was stationary on the wall, right? And I think back on those things now, guys, how many people can say that about their job and that ownership and that pride, and that's one of the things that I really love about what's happening right now is because we're looking at things a little differently, and we're having an opportunity to say, what is it that I really, really want? Do I want to have my own company? Do I want to go and really believe in the company I'm working with to make it successful? And this is our opportunity. I love that community. Come back into community. So thank you for having some fun with me on that because it was like, oh, I love that. I love that smile. You could just feel it. Okay, and we have Amrush. I'm glad that you're here with us. Thank you. And Andrea Adams Miller. Thank you for hashtagging and being here with us. And thank you, Sherry, for welcoming everyone. I really do appreciate that. Engage, guys. And also, if you want to share this out on any kind of a watch party or anything, feel free to do so. I always encourage that. Love it. Plus, remember, hashtag live, hashtag replay. All right. So now, as we go forward, now, I have to say, one of the things that when I saw everything about you, I keyed into, and I will talk about a lot of the things, but I really keyed into, because it hit home for me in so many different ways, is the bullying aspect of things. And I did go on your page. I did some research. I did, I wanted to figure out who you were. What is it that you're up to? I love your messages. And I have to say too, guys, I do this. I gotta just love. I'm loving these pictures.
Yes, that's my family.
Is this just not like the American dream right here too? Is like so adorable. That dress, is there a story?
That dress was handmade by a woman who lives in a small town outside of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And she made that dress for my daughter when she was in my sister-in-law's wedding.
Can we just say princess and be done? I mean, it's
yes.
Like, wow. And beautiful. And it's always nice to see who we're getting to know and what is it that grounds them. So thank you for having those there to share. And yet you had this, this is holy ground. And with the image here, I'm thinking, and there was a little bit of a clue that I did get here. I just have to share this. Who can do this? I mean,
my son is amazing. Yes.
That means his mom and dad is amazing too, because they learned this from their parents. And here he's amongst the trees and he's doing a tree pose. I mean, so and there's a lot of other pictures, but it seems like you're really tied into the full aspect of life, right?
Yeah, I mean, I believe in living it full out. I'm a believer, as you can see. My faith has always been a part of my life, and in the last, I would say, 5 years or so, it's become center with having children, with having loss, with having a business. All of these things bring that in. And then for my family, my husband and I are celebrating 15 years of marriage in July. Yes, 15 years. We still like each other. We still have fun. And we like to model that, right? Yes.
Let's just say it.
Yeah, having a lot of fun.
I have props for my group.
Oh yeah.
You get a horn on that one.
Yeah, and so we're constantly trying to show our children that life, while it's hard, there are things that happen. that it is fun and you got to live in the moment. You definitely have to live in the moment. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, we're gonna be talking about your platform and everything. And really, this is what keyed me into here, is that you really are about awesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
I love a giver of awesomeness,
Yes.
and let's go there before we go into this. What gave you the idea of giver of awesomeness? Where'd that come from?
I was trying to update my LinkedIn profile. And you know how on LinkedIn you have to decide what your title is going to be. But at the time, I was like, I just don't believe in titles. Like, you got to be more than that. And who am I? And so I started asking the question, like, who am I, Lord? Like, who do you want me to be? And all of a sudden, it was like all of these thoughts. You're a giver. You're awesome. You rock. And it was like giver of awesomeness. And then the idea came to trademark that. And so I trademarked it, not really even knowing what I was doing. So the first time I trademarked it wrong and tried to do it myself. And then I hired a lawyer who did it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that one. Okay, so be bold in your thinking and intentional in your answers. Ooh, that's good. Yes. Okay, so you're a teacher. I mean, your master's, and yet now you're out there teaching the masses. You're out there as a speaker, a writer, a coach. You go into companies and you help them in different areas, whatever it may be that they need. And I love the fact, thank you corporations for bringing outside influencers in to teach how to be better and how to take your companies to the next step, because that's critical. And the companies that do that, I believe, are the ones that make it through things like this. Love
Like
that
now.
statement. Yeah, absolutely, Sherry. I do too. Love that statement. So, be bold in your thinking and intentional in your answers. I'm going to bring that back up. And your topics, as I was reading about all of you, everything that you're doing, and I really want to get to that bullying piece, because and you'll see why I want to, because it's really relevant to what's happening right now. Really relevant, and especially in some of the stuff that people are coming to me and talking to me about. We need to have some actionable tools and help and inspiration, and something that we can hold on to when a lot of people are feeling like I don't even know what side is up anymore. I'm confined to these walls and I'm going crazy, and am I going crazy? And we're going to talk about that. But and yet bold in your thinking, intentional in your answers. So we're going to be bold in our thinking of what we're going to talk about, and then intentional with the answers. And so, when did you decide that you were going to be a leadership and success coach?
The day I decided was the last day I saw my minimizer bully boss at work. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. When my colleagues and coworkers were coming into my office afterward and apologizing on my boss's behalf for how I had been treated, I knew I needed to step out and do something different. My body was sick. I had high blood pressure. I was having all of the signs of stress and anxiety. And so I decided to take my gifts, my talents, my skills. I had been doing coaching in the role that I had been in. I had been doing leadership development and masterminds in the organization that I was in. And so I said, well, I'm going to try this. I'm going to trust the process and step out there. And that's how I just started.
And how long ago was that?
Almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in October.
And how has it been serving you? And since this is Service Heroes, how has it been serving you individually? Because that's a big step whenever you leave. And no matter how bad it is, there's still a comfort level to it. It's something, it's paying the bills, and there's always something in there, people, whatever it may be, there's something that's still keeping you there, but then the pain just gets to that point and it's like, okay, I can do this somewhere else and I can make maybe even a bigger difference. And so, however, I really want to emphasize for yourself in the beginning and then for others, because there's a lot of people that right now, here and now on April the 21st, are having some time and they're being told to have time to be intentional with themselves. So I want to go there right now. How was that for you? Because again, bold in thinking, intentional with your answers. So you sitting there, how is it serving you 3 years later?
It's changed everything. So in my job, when I was working and doing well, and I was doing well, and some would say I had made it, big job, big money, title, all that. But I always felt like there was something here that was a little bit more. I could do more. I could be more. I just didn't know what that was. And when I took the first step to just start, put it out there, start a business, got my first couple of clients, I thought, this is good. This is good. And then I realized great, phenomenal, outstanding, fantastic is really the call.
Right.
And that's how it serves me well even today. It's that continuous pursuit of fine is not the bar. Even though most people, if you ask them like, how are you doing? They're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm good. I would say that. I'm fine. I would drive to work saying this, I love my job. It's the best job I've ever had. I love my job. It's the best job. And I would say it and practice it. Like the more you say it, the more you'll believe it. And then I realized, like, that is crazy. You should not have to talk yourself into it. And now I'm like, I love my job. It's the best job I ever have. Seriously, because it's who I am. It's not what I do. This is who I am.
Right. And you can see it, and anybody that's ever heard of muscle testing or anything like that, you think about it because, hey, I'm from the old school, guys. I was raised by an old school mom too. And, this generational and it was, okay, kind of that, what you were saying, I'm look in the mirror. If you don't believe it, talk yourself into it because you can make it happen, and yet, you can do that over and over and over, yet the body knows. And that's where, the muscle testing kind of thing, it's really, there's something to all of that, guys, in that you could be feeding yourself and there's nothing wrong with a job that pays the bills and keeps the family going. And you say, this works for me. It may not bring that, ta-da, but if that works for you, that works for you. And yes, that's great. I want to make that clear. However, when I see your face, you share it. Like when it's there, oh, you can tell it's like all in. And I want to say, Curtis is saying, hey, hi, Sherry. Thanks for sharing some of Raushawna's amazing and life-changing quotes. Or sure, thank you for being here, Curtis. And Andrea, the greatest gift we can give someone is the truth. Absolutely. Wrap that one in all the time. Yeah. Wrap that one in a bow. And Sherry is saying yes. Amen. There you go. With butterflies. I love it. So you well served, you yourself, you could see it in your face. Now you're out there and we're going to go into the things that you're, the areas that you are out there helping people with. But I want to hear from you before we go to the one that really I'm keying into. What is it right now that you feel, of all of your messages, of everything that you have to offer, what do you feel is the most relevant topic and information that you can share on this show today for Service Heroes to serve others as we're talking over the next little bit?
That when the negativity comes, when the bully comes, when someone says something to you, listen, because they're actually telling you who you are.
Okay.
Because they can't think about you without first thinking of you. So even for people that are listening now that are going, no one is thinking of me, or only the people that are talking to me are negative people, the fact that they're thinking about you is the first sign that you're memorable. You're top of mind with someone.
Okay.
That's the place to start.
I love that. So it's a matter of shifting the way that it's happening. It's shifting the way you're looking at it and saying, okay, as they say, negative attention at least is intention. It's attention. It's someone's think. But I like the way you're putting that. Someone's thinking of you. So that's a proactive thing. It's okay. Right. You're on someone's mind. You are memorable. That's huge. Because yes, there's quite a few people that and quite a few people in my community that right now, and quite a few people out there that are behind closed doors, behind closed windows. They don't get out there and maybe see everybody, and they may be wondering, have my friends forgotten me? Has my family forgotten me? I'm not hearing from them right now, or whatever it may be. And so,
or they're only calling me to ask me for something because right now everyone needs something. Yes. But the fact that they're calling you means they believe you have something. Even if you don't feel like you have something, they believe you have something. And that is belief that you can hold on to help you move forward.
Great way of looking at it. Great way. I love it. I'm just like, okay, done. There we go. I love this, Andrea. Thank you. Awesomeness is you. Awesomeness is you. Okay, so these are your quotes. Awesomeness is you. It basically it's self-explanatory, but what do you want to say when you see that quote coming up from Andrea?
It's helping. When I think about it and when I share it with people, it is the thing that you take for granted. Like for you right now, even Tamara, you're on here, you're doing interviews, you've probably talked to thousands of people. So when you're out and about, you're talking to people. That's just who you are. It's your awesomeness. And you may even take it for granted, or you may be with friends or family who give you the, there you go. You're talking.
They're okay if I talk. It's if I start singing, that's when I get the.
And you get the, here we go. Right.
No. And then they walk away like, I don't know her.
But everyone has that thing, thing where some people it's you organize things, and you organize things in your sleep, or you're the one that people call to plan the party, or you're the one that someone calls and says, I just need you to talk to me for a minute, or I need you to help me cook something, or whatever it is. And it may feel like a burden, but the truth is that they're coming to you because they believe you can do it or you've done it. And that's your awesomeness.
Again, ding, ding, ding. That is really a great way of looking at it. Guys, especially the buddies, we're going to need to talk about this some more in our closed group, because this is, this is really, really important, because the people in my community, they're people that are affected by cancer, and many of them were already in an isolated situation because of treatment. And then you add what's going on in the world right now, they're at the quote unquote at risk, yet we're not an at-risk kind of group, that's not what we do. It's not what we do. It's all a frame of mind, and so we're constantly looking at how do we shift things? How do we look at this in an appropriate way of what is going on, learn from it, absorb it, and then, really digest it and make it ours, make it, each of ours individually. And that is all of the buddies that are watching this, anybody that's watching this, especially anybody that's feeling isolated and alone. And then when that phone rings, because we've all been there. We've all been there. Let's just be honest. You see that person calling, you're like, oh, really? Yep. I've been hoping a phone call. This one?
This really? One? That's right.
What's gonna happen here? Look at it differently now, because and I love that. I really would love for people to, maybe even get note cards out, get some pen and paper out, and pick some of these awesomeness quotes and the ones that you're really resonating with right now. And let's make this interactive with your life right now. I know I'm going to come back, and I'm actually going to be a replay, and I'm going to take some of this, and I'm going to say, okay, what is it that I need to maybe just slightly twist it a bit, because these are priceless nuggets, all of these. And that one is really good because, we all are guilty. We're all guilty if we're honest, if we're human, if we're breathing.
Right.
We're all guilty of it, and usually it's a family member or, and someone that is like, yet when we take them for granted and we don't take that call. I've seen those videos. I've seen those days. I've lived it my own self, that it's like, I wish I could have had that moment back.
That moment back. Yeah. That moment back with that person, and ultimately listen to what they're saying to you.
Yeah.
Even if they're saying it in a harsh way, their tone is terrible. If you filter all of that out, and to your point, take a pen and a piece of paper and even write down what they're saying, because when you replay the words later, they're giving you breadcrumbs. I call them little breadcrumbs to who you are, who they see you. Yeah.
How they see you. Yes. How they see you. And sometimes, a lot of times, we don't necessarily always want to look at ourselves. And I had this discussion a while ago with a professional when I was actually kind of dealing with this subject matter and a similar situation. And I was trying to navigate through it in the healthiest way I could. And finally, this person had said, because it was with an older family member, and said, you know what, let's ask this question. Do you think that at that age that they're going to change? Like, No. Then the next question was, okay, how important are they to you? And they were very important to me. That was never a question. It was more of just an irritant, like, okay, can we just get past this? But when it was asked of me and I started being able to look at it differently, there were certain areas that we did get through some things, not everything. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy's, this show is a show that I'm thrilled we're going through, because we all need this. Okay, so Curtis is saying, find your awesomeness by facing down that which stops you from moving forward. Another one of your quotes. Ooh, I like this one too. Okay, So let's go through this one.
Face it down. So I talk about staring it in the face, especially in adversity. And we've talked about this flipping. I call it flipping the flow of adversity, but you have to first acknowledge it happens. So often, or at least when I was growing up, and maybe when you were growing up, when people said and did bad things, negative things, when you were bullied, there was either the fight, like go ahead and just fight it out, duke it out, or like pretend like that didn't happen and move on. Yeah. It was one or the other.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
If you actually face it and say, this happened to me, like they said this to me, they did this to me. It hurt my feelings. I feel terrible about it, and own it. Once you can own it, no one else can own it. You own it. So then you get to decide what it does for you. And you can decide, like, these words, these phrases, these things, they can actually serve me well. And that is how, really, that's how even I wrote the book. It was from this place of, like I said, the minimizer bully boss said and did things to me. Like one day in a meeting, it was, look at me when I'm talking to you. In a meeting in front of other people. And I thought I was getting punked. I was like, are we getting ready to have some kind of cameras come in? Like, right, the shock and awe. But what I learned as I reflected on the process and those words, someone can only tell you, shout at you, scream at you, look at me when I'm talking to you, if they need you. In some way, they need you and your presence to be focused on them.
Right.
You do something for them. And that is what it's all about. That's how you use your awesomeness. That's how you discover it and then give it to the world. Everyone is trying to tell you who you are. Sometimes they just package it in a terrible way.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. That's a huge truth. I want to recognize someone here because it's interesting you're here right now, Caroline. Caroline Apinde. Do you know Caroline?
No.
Caroline, everybody, I featured her not long ago on the Service Hero Show, and I'm excited. I'm going to be on her show this Friday. And she is is the creator and the founder of NGO Whisperer. She is an international woman that works in the United Nations, women's issues, and one of the representatives that was that of the UN, and she is helping to make things, making the world a better place out there throughout the world and many different initiatives. And she and I had a discussion about this very thing that I really do want to key into, and that is the bullying piece of it. And what you're sharing, and I want to be able to, it's interesting you're here, Caroline. I really do want to, there's so many people right now, men, women, children, let's just put it out there, all of the above, because that are in homes that are in, that they're being sheltered in place with a bully, with an abuser, with someone that even could be dangerous and violent. And there's real issues there. The numbers are up and there's real issues. And I can see how your philosophies, your quotes, your ways of training, the ways that you're educating us right now, I really, as we're going through these, I really would love for you to be keeping that in mind too, for the, if you will, the average person out there, or those people that, are not in that are saying, well, I understand this is happening, but I want it about me. Okay, we want it about you too. You're going to get a lot of nuggets, but I really do want to go somewhere that might be a little uncomfortable, but is needed, because there's quite a few people that watch this show that are in that situation. And this is an opportunity for us to give them actionable help right now. So,
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here, Caroline. And as we keep going now, okay, you start seeing your awesomeness through the eyes of others. Okay, let's go through this one.
So that is the lens. People tell you who you are. They are saying to you things like you're awesome, you're amazing, you rock, can you do this? Will you show up? Can you create this? They start to put things on you. Sometimes they feel like heavy things. They feel like things that you might think are outside of your control or outside of what your capacity is to hold. But because they're picking you out of a crowd, that means they see you as someone that can handle it. And that's why you know that you have awesomeness. That's how you know that this is a gift or a talent, something that you possess that they don't, because they're coming to you. And that's the start of figuring out how it is that you can use that gift or talent. So the first step is to really pay attention. Really pay attention. Not like, oh, I'm going to talk to someone. No, the next time you're in a conversation, I want you to be fully present. No phone, no, what are they saying to me? And then jot them down, take a memo on your phone, all of the requests that they're making of you. Okay. Can you, will you, could you, should you, might you, all of the ways in which people do that. Because the requests of what people have of you is telling you that they feel like you can do this in some way, shape, or form. And so often we see requests as like another thing or a burden, but it's also a gift or a talent or a weight that they feel like you can carry. Okay?
Yes, I'm getting that. And so what I'm thinking, and I actually do this at home just because I have a little bit of a hearing issue. Okay. So I'm not going to say that it's just because I'm all that awesome or anything. It's because it is what it is. And so my family knows if they want my attention, we have everything off. The phone, phones are off. the TV's off, radio's off, everything, or I'm not going to hear them. And I'm only
Right.
going to, it cancels out. Wah, 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 wah is what I
Mhm.
hear. Right. And so when life is crazy and they want to stop me, and then they think they've said something to me, I'll say, okay, did we really have that conversation or not? Because they know what a true conversation with mom looks like, just because of the fact that we have to close down everything so I can focus on them and I can hear what they're saying. And we realized this after a period of time, and it was more of just, how teenagers, they're past the teenager age, but they were like, mom, I said that to you. And I'm like, we're gonna go there. We didn't. So okay, so I'm getting that. I love that. And Caroline is explaining, I am a pro bono woman's member, not a UN woman employee. Right.
Good.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
not an employee. She's a volunteer. Right. It's there's those that have been through certain aspects of the volunteer groups within the UN, and there's a lot to
Mhm.
gain in that role that she's in.
Wow.
So she's amazing, and thank you for being here. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep going, and thank you everybody for saying hello to everybody. I love it. We're gonna keep
Love it.
going though with quotes, because I really thank you, Andrea, for being here and feeding us these. This is fun. I love it. It's fun. Okay, your perspective matters. Let's go through this one.
Mhm. Your perspective matters is all about seeing yourself the way that either someone sees you, if it's working for you, or understanding that what they're saying to you may not work for you, but it's giving you an indicator. So an example is when someone said to me one time, Raushawna, I just don't understand why you didn't do this. You're the one that knows the most, you should do it. In the moment, I was offended. Like, what do you mean? Because a part of me was like, why are you questioning the fact that I didn't do something?
Right.
But when I went back later, they said, you're the one that knows the most.
Right.
And so often when we get offended in a conversation, we miss it. The rest of it goes right over our, like, because we're stuck. Or we take it to someone else, like our amen corner, and they validate, right? Like they validate our feeling of like, yeah, they were offensive, and you miss the whole other point. The same is true, and if I may, I'm just going to go back to what we talked about earlier, because there are so many people that are at home. They are stuck in homes that can be not safe, or where things are happening, and sometimes they're happening so quickly. Things are escalating, and it's because of stress or anxiety or just miscommunication, or that's just kind of how it is in the household and has been. It's a culture. But it's even in those minutes, in those moments, when you have perspective around who you are at your core, if you can go to something and hold on to a piece of positivity, even if it was words spoken over you when you were young, going back to that, not in the moment, can help you put up a guard that doesn't let those words of negativity penetrate you. While you can be present, even if someone is berating you verbally, or even putting your hands on you, you can get to a place where you're like, I'm worth more. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to look to that. And when you can look to that, it can help you get to a safe place in a home, or at least get to a safe place in your mind while you endure what's happening externally.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because there's those safe places in the house, and many have been talking about this, because this is becoming such a big issue. You need to know where that safe place could be, that maybe you could wait out that moment in time. And if that's not, yes, I love the amen corner, or, and they say also, get yourself small, whatever you need to do, protect yourself for those moments, and so you can get through them, and get to the next place. And Caroline is saying, I'd love to connect with you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. Caroline, you both are wonderful women with missions and messages to make a difference in this world, and I'm privileged to know you both. Okay, so let's keep going. Guard your gates. Ooh, I like
Guard your
this
gates.
too. Okay, guard your gates. Okay.
Yes. So your eyes, your ears, and even your mouth are three gates that are open, and they can either help you move forward and bringing your awesomeness out, or they can hinder it. So when we think about even our eye gates, right now, there are several people watching this because they're getting something positive out of it. But so often we read things and we let things pass through our eye gate that is not serving us well. It tells us we aren't something, that we can't do something. Even on social media, when we get into a scrolling pattern and then we see something that goes, well, they're already doing it, so there's no reason that I can do it. You have to protect it. So put the things in front of you that show you who you are or tell you this is what I'm going towards, so you can get going towards it. The same with your ears, what you listen to, who you let speak into your life. So there are sometimes, I saw you go like,
yeah. Oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm hearing you that one.
Right. And our family, I love my family. They're great. But my family, sometimes they just don't understand because family wants to keep you safe, familiar, right? My dad did that at a young age, right? It's the reason I became an engineer. I'm grateful for it, but it's because he wanted me to be able to live a good life, make good money, all of that. And he just didn't believe, knowing his experience, that being a teacher would do that. Now, full circle, I totally educate people now, just in a different way. And so it all worked out. But those ear gates, if we don't protect them, the voices that we hear that come into us can keep us from moving forward or believing we are as awesome as we really are.
And the mouth gate?
The mouth is all about speak into it. I was just talking to a client about this today, because right now we're trying to be in rapport with people. And there are a lot of people that to be in rapport with them, you have to agree that things are terrible, that the world is ending, that everything is right. And so then you're like, yeah, it's a crazy, terrible time. Now your mouth gate has just put out there this thing that you might not even really believe as true. I believe that we're in the middle of a miracle, and that this is when history books are being made and we're in the middle of it. That's like an honor and a privilege. And so when you can protect your mouth gates, you can speak out there what you want and actually build rapport with people that are going to help you get to where you need to be, and you can serve others as well.
I love it. Service hero. Absolutely. Okay. So now I love the fact, thank you everybody for helping to bring in so many amazing nuggets and quotes that I love your quotes. I love them. And the book that you wrote, let's see, I know I saw it. Did I pull it? Yes. Okay. It's kind of a far away, but so tell us about this.
So this was actually a picture at a local bookstore outside of Charlotte, and it's called Park Roads Books. And so my book is on Amazon. It's also in a local bookstore because I believe in shopping local, and this bookstore ships all across the globe.
Awesome.
So and the book is called Be a Giver of Awesomeness. So my trademark is in there, and it's all about 3 parts. Discover your awesomeness, guard it from these awesomeness stealers, and then give it to the world around you in the places where it's going to thrive.
So when we're done here, if you can put a link into the comments of how people can support this local bookstore, that would be great, because I too am a real big believer in supporting our local businesses. Right now they need it, guys. There's ever been a time, and it may not be local to you. However, if we all start, supporting everybody's local, then we're going to be serving those that are saying, hey, I'm keeping my doors open. I am making a stand. We are going to make it through this. We're going to heal through this, and we're going to do this together. Okay, Curtis has said, it's one of yours. Okay, be a giver of awesomeness, discover, guard, give. Okay, so this is your book. Okay, that's available on Amazon and locally.
Yes, and Park Road Books. I'll put the link.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Thank you, Curtis, for that. So I'm going to put that back up so everybody can write that down. I had said you need a piece of paper and a pencil today.
That's
And so
right.
now we got the teacher in the house. And so I love it. So,
Yes.
you are also, I know that you're not able to be quote unquote a speaker out there in the public so much in the person, yet there's all this virtual thing, all these virtual things going on and everything, and you've had opportunity to be working in the virtual world sharing your messages, right? Let's talk a little
Right.
bit about that.
Yeah, so there is a local nonprofit. So there's lots of things I've been doing, but there's a local nonprofit here called Renaissance West Community Initiative, and it supports a large residential area of local members. And I have been doing videos for them and speaking with them and doing virtual conversations around financial management, helping the residents understand what is the government saying about stimulus, right? Like there's all of this content that you can read, and we assume that people can read it. It's an
Right,
assumption.
right. Yeah,
An
yeah,
assumption. And
yeah.
so as a speaker, I've been doing a lot of voiceover work and reading that content and just talking through and explaining it and doing interviews with some of the other professionals that are supporting that nonprofit as an interviewer. So it's been a great opportunity to continue to add value and to help in ways that really, honestly, I just was kind of like, I'm here to support. Let me help you any way that I can. But it's not something that I was really seeking. It came, there was a need, and I'm all about service. Like, and then I'm all about like, of course we can do this. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out. And then you go from
I
there.
love it. I love you. Absolutely. You're cut from the same cloth. I mean, absolutely. That's the way it needs to be. And I had this conversation this morning with someone in regards to this very thing. Someone came, they're like, I think I'm supposed to contact you. It's kind of like, and what is it that and we were trying to figure out, and then it was like, oh, we put that intention out there, we're looking for someone just like you, let's
Yes.
talk, let's figure this out. How is this supposed to look? Because there are so many, and thank you again for what you're doing, and it's Service Hero. There are so many companies, local companies, yes, we want to support them. There are so many nonprofits. You talk about any area that you have a desire to help, do it. Because, and some people out there may be saying, well, I can't right now because of this reason, that reason, this word and that. For my community, I'll usually say that's the reason why you need to right now. It's because oftentimes when we put those roadblocks up, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, because I have a feeling you're going to be able to tweak it a bit to make it beautiful. And that is that when we serve, we will learn more about ourselves in serving others. Whatever it is that we're in need of sometimes inside of ourselves will come through serving others. It's amazing. And many of my cancer buddies, that their doctors have been like, how are you still alive still, stage 4s, and they've tracked them, and it's like they've been serving others. They have a reason to show up every day. It's amazing what happens within our minds and our hearts and our souls. And so I would love to hear what you have to say about that. When someone says, okay, this is all good and fine and dandy, but, Raushawna, you've got a good life going on. Yeah, you can go out there and serve. I understand that, but I'm sitting from this chair. This is about you guys. What would you say?
I would say that if you are breathing, you can help someone. There is someone out there that you can call, that you can, if you have a device of some sort, if you can put up hand signals, you can send a hug through the window with somebody that's walking by, right? Like, and we've seen these images of people on one side of a glass and the other side of a glass, and they're touching hands. That is what we need even right now. So be willing. That's what I would say. Even in your, I don't have anything. Like I don't have anything. I don't have anything to give. I hear people say that all the time. I don't have anything to give. Right? I don't have money. I don't have time. And I'm like, well, are you sure you don't have time? Because right now there's not a whole lot happening. But if you feel like you don't, then you don't.
Right.
But even But if you don't, you have something. You have something. Even if it's this is going to sound funny, but even if it's like an ashy foot, which is like a foot with no lotion, you have a foot with no lotion. There is someone else who has a foot with no lotion, who is crying that they don't have lotion. Find that person and tell them they're not alone. They too, you both need lotion. That is the foundation of the start of community right there.
Yes. I love it. So true. Amen. Absolutely. You know, absolutely, guys.
That's it.
This is so true. And we all, I love it. If you are breathing, you can serve. And that is absolutely the truth. So as we start to close, I am going to give you an opportunity, and I'm going to drop down from the line for a few moments. And I'd love for you to just give us an opportunity, you know, just your words of wisdom, a final thought that you would like to wrap this all up in your nice little bow. And then I'll come back and then we'll finish out the show. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Wow. So to everyone that's out here tuning in, or if you are watching this on the replay, this is a day and a season and a time. If you're here watching under the sound of my voice, it's for a reason and a purpose. So I want you to spend some time with you. And I say that because you may feel even nervous about that. You don't have to. You're more than enough. There is so many gifts, so many talents inside of you. And our hearts, while sometimes they get broken by what people say and what people do, that brokenness is really where light shines in and where your light can shine out to the world. So in your brokenness, in what you feel like is lack, I want you to believe and take action to do something to serve someone else. Even if it's, I'm going to write a letter that I'm going to put into the mail to someone, do that. Whatever comes to your mind, do it. Because once you do that, you'll be setting up a ripple effect that you might not even know. You'll be touching the life of someone that you don't know who they're going to touch and who somebody else is going to touch because of that. The awesomeness that you have inside of you is yours. It's unique. No one else has it. And when the bullies and the negativity comes, it's choosing you to show you your strength and your awesomeness. Thank you.
I love it. Perfect. Okay. So as we close today, April the 21st, 2020, the Service Hero Show, 365 Days of Awesome, Celebrate Success Through Service. Raushawna Price, you are definitely a service hero. We have been served today in so many ways with so many different thoughts. And you have actually taught us today. You went line for line for line, and you spent time with us and gave us actionable items, things that those that didn't come with a pen and paper, I want to ask you to go back with a pen and paper, write things down, and then share later what it is that you learned from this. Because Raushawna, you are a service hero that inspires, and I am grateful that you were here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It has been a wonderful time. Okay, anybody that's been here, okay, so any of our buddies and anybody that wants to join us, because we have a closed group, it's a safe environment. It's kind of like Vegas in a whole different flair, but what happens there stays there because it's a safe environment, and it's our buddies. And tonight is Travel Tuesday, and we're going to be traveling through healing through music. We're going to be talking about tomorrow being Earth Day, and we're going to be talking about favorite family stories. It's going to be a fun time, and that's going to take place at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, and as always, it's a chat. And so everybody in there is chatting with each other, and if there's ever something important to talk about, we put all of the other aside and we deal with whatever it is that community member needs at that time. All right, so come and join us on the closed group. All right, have a great day. Thank you for being here, Raushawna.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.